Hello, we're continuing our session of frequently asked questions about the Neshoba Regional High School building project. We're going to discuss finance at this point. I'm sitting with Kirk Downing, the Superintendent of Schools, and Ross Mulkerin, the Director of Finance and Operations. Thank you for sitting down with us.
Thank you for having me.
Ross, let me start with you. This is a $241 million project. Will you please summarize the cost of the project to the towns and share what the towns need to contribute to it?
Yes. Thanks for the opportunity to share the information today. So the total project cost is estimated at $241,714,926, with an MSBA reimbursement of $64,811,362. This results in a total taxpayer contribution of $176,903,564. Based on the regional agreement and using our FY24 enrollment data, the estimated share per community is as follows. For the town of Bolton, that would be $56,379,165. For the town of Lancaster, $58,325,105. And for the town of Stowe, $62,199,293.
Okay, thank you. Kirk, as I just mentioned, this is a $241 million project. The cost to the taxpayers is about $176 million. But why do we have to authorize a borrowing of $241 million?
Yeah, it's required of us to authorize the total cost of the project. That includes the building, includes any fees involved, it includes all of our grounds as well. So we're required to that. And then the MSBA will then reimburse us along the way throughout the project. So as we're borrowing throughout the project, we only have to borrow for what the MSBA has not reimbursed us for. So ultimately, it's estimated we will borrow by the end of the project $176 million. We will not have to borrow the totality of the 241, but it is required for us to pass that as the total estimated cost of the project.
Okay, thank you. Let me follow up with that and ask for some more information. That the MSBA has offered Neshoba a reimbursement rate of 55.09% for eligible costs. And why is the MSBA contribution only 27% of the actual cost?
Yeah, this is a great question that I've answered in multiple forums, even as recently having a meeting with the MSBA last week around that discrepancy. It comes down to a couple of factors. One is the reimbursement rate is the reimbursement rate of eligible costs. So the MSBA won't fund you for certain things like, for instance, swimming pools and ice rinks. They just won't participate in it at all. But there's other limitations like caps on the grounds. You can't do more than 10% of your total budget towards site work. And so any costs above that would be ineligible for reimbursement. That's one type of cap. There's a whole menu of caps that I won't go into the list of today.
Okay, thank you. Ross, how are the bonds for the project going to be financed?
So as we began to get project estimates on schematic design, we began a series of conversations with our financial advisors at Hilltop Securities about what potential borrowing for the high school would look like. Based on those conversations and conversations that we had at School Building Committee, we formed a bond advisory subcommittee to help us understand feedback and input and questions from members of our town finance committees, town administrators, and also we have a school committee rep on that as well. Our financial advisors have presented us with some models, and we had our initial meeting of the bond advisory subcommittee and got some great feedback and valuable input on what borrowing might look like. So we're going to have our financial advisors run some new models based on that feedback and meet again. I can say that the input and the feedback from that committee was hugely valuable, not only at that meeting, but moving forward as we decide on a strategy for borrowing for the new high school project.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to add, if you don't mind, Mr. Sikansky, that we know carrying a AA plus rating, those current rates in the market today are roughly around 4%. So the modeling that we're doing is conservative modeling at 4%, 4.5%, 5%, so that we can give ranges to our taxpayers about what the potential impact of the project would be.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Ross, are there any other debt exclusions nearing the end date for the school district that will provide some relief to the taxpayers when the new bond is assessed?
So we have 3 existing debt payments on the high school. The most recent one was a bond anticipation note for the leach field and fuel tank storage. But we have approximately 6 years left on that, so it's not as close. We also have the track and field athletic complex that will see its last payment in FY28, which will reduce our budget for debt payments by about $150,000. But coming up in the near future, our last payment for the last renovation on the high school, which I believe was completed in 1999, the last payment on that debt will be in FY25 and will reduce our debt payments by approximately $300,000. We also have the feasibility study ban out right now, and that will get incorporated into the project with our financing package for the high school.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Kirk. Thank you, Ross.
Thank you.
Thank you.